Hello there. Hold on. I'm doing camera 1 and camera 2. Hold on. This is going to be interesting, people. That's funny. Yeah. Hello there, Wesley. I had 2 cameras, if you see it. Here, I'll send you the link. I don't know if you see it, but... shit. Hello there, Wesley. Can you hear me good? If you want to see camera 2, this is stupid. Oh. Just got the notification. Yeah, about the camera 1 and camera 2. This is going to be hard to do, camera 1 and camera 2. I had to get it set up really nice. And hello there, I'm BRC, even though I know you can't see me on camera. What was it again? I forgot what camera. Yeah, okay, here we are. I'm on camera 2 now. Okay, good. Because I got this hot and spicy chicken flavored soup by American. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Hold on. I'll let it cool down. Yeah, it's still hot and piping hot. And also spicy hot. Damn it. Fuck. Sorry. Let that marinate. Probably shouldn't have took it out of my mouth on camera, but it was piping hot. And I don't want to burn my mouth while also having spice in it. BRC vision, yeah. Right now you can join this and then join the later version. Or whatever. Yeah, this is a 2 camera situation. Maybe. I don't know. Hold on. Yeah, Bailey vision is very hot and spicy. This is an interesting technique I call editing. This is an interesting technique I like to call eating soup. While it's piping hot. Do you have any questions for me? BRC in HD. Really? I'm in HD? Damn. I didn't know that. Or am I in HD? Are you sure I'm in HD? I didn't know that. Let's see what I can find here, even though I'm eating spicy soup as a thing here. Let's see what Food Beats has, since I'm eating food right now. Let's see if Food Beats has some new stuff. Reese's Deconstructed Peanut Butter Cup Kit sold out in record time. Bailey Beats rating on the noodles. Since it's spicy and piping hot right now, I cannot review it. I give it a 4 out of 5 still for that noodle. I don't know. I gotta eat the rest of it. That was better, not piping hot to the point it burned my lips or mouth. Okay, anyway, as for this hot and spicy one, it's a little bit spicy. Just a little bit. I thought it was gonna be spicier, Wesley. Shit. Anyway, so Reese's Deconstructed Peanut Butter Cup sold out in record time. And I'm going to show you on this camera, too. On camera, too. Get it? Okay, now I may have to... Oh, shit. Sorry about that. You may have to go back to camera 1, though. I know it's kind of hard to do. Wow, this is a weird camera angle. Hold on. Okay, there we go. I fixed it. As for this soup, it's very interesting. Did you see the peanut butter and jelly M&Ms? I think I seen it. I think I also see peanut butter and jelly Reese's too. I hope you can hear me on both, but it's kind of hard to watch both, isn't it? I was just testing this out, see if it worked. Yeah, that music I was playing earlier was out of control music. That's why I call it. Because it didn't go to a beat or something. Anyway, yeah, so there's a deconstructed Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. It's probably not actually that big. Oh, you hear me fine? I'm at the other camera. I'm just hoping. Okay, good. You can hear me fine on here. Let's see what I can find also. You know what? This would be an interesting concept for YouTube. Yes, it would. And I mean, it would be an interesting concept for Facebook too. If Facebook wasn't, you know, that's what she said about Big. Yeah. Yeah. What, the Reese's peanut butter? I don't know what we'll say. There's camera 1 if you're wondering. This goes here. I'll show you how I do this, people. It's for XSplit Broadcasting, and I'm gonna show you a little EB secret. Yeah, there's my itty bitty secret. Yes. See, I didn't know you knew that the Reese's. Oh, the Reese's, okay. Well, that's also my big old fucking secret to how I do some videos. I'm just wondering if you knew that. The decline of TGI Fridays. I tell you what, the decline of TGI Fridays is a lot of stuff.
Get rid of it. Or get paid.
Tell them, Wesley, or somebody, and I'll read what his comments say. I tell you what their decline is: low quality food now, still on credit card information, being a bar. You know, well, it's not just being a bar, but it's being a shitty bar. To be honest, can you hear that real well?
one of those classic American restaurants. For multiple decades, they've been serving...
When are you entering another eating contest? I have no idea until... I don't think there's eating contests around this time of year. It'll probably be next year. When the next one is, I don't know.
So many other signature
but I mean, maybe find
across
one.
the United States and in many other countries around the world. In 1986, they opened their first international location in England, and ever since they've expanded into dozens of other countries. Notably, about a decade later, they became the first American restaurant of its kind to open a location in Moscow, Russia. Given its rich history, long-time popularity, and influence, I would qualify it as an iconic chain that I'm sure has been the setting of a lot of fun memories for us. So it is upsetting to talk about the fact that TGI Fridays is not doing well. To be clear, this chain has been
not only the soup is still hot, it's spicy a little bit.
An article from 2005 that starts by saying, if you haven't thought about TGI Fridays in a while...
Yeah, Fridays should be called cheap food. That sucks, yeah. It sucks that it went from so good that I want to go back to I don't want to go back anymore.
Alone.
That's how sad
well
it
over
is.
A decade now, there's been a trend of falling sales as they have shut down underperforming locations to the point where in the U.S. they're now about a quarter of the size that they used to be. Again, there's not much promise to be taken from any of that. But
yeah, well, that TGI Friday's fault right there.
Past couple of years, it feels like TGI Fridays has been in complete panic mode, closing more restaurants than ever as they struggle to pay their bills. I just have this image in my head of the phone ringing with the bill collector on the other end, and TGI Fridays is over there searching through the couch cushions, trying to find whatever money they can to hold them over for a while. Maybe that is exaggerating a little bit, but maybe not.
Actually, that's not nice.
The company changed CEOs twice, along with some major menu changes. Then, all in 2024, they announced that they would be selling licensing rights to Kraft Heinz to pay off some of their debt. You know how they have those frozen appetizers and other TGI Fridays?
I mean, oh, you wouldn't go to Fridays if someone paid you $1 million? I wouldn't go to TGI Fridays if someone paid me $2 million. Now, if they go $2 million, then we're fine. But TGI Fridays is so weird now these days. I remember when they used to be a little bit better or better.
Grocery stores, well, Kraft Heinz now is perpetual control over those. A few months later, they announced that they would be selling their company-owned restaurants to franchisees to raise more money to pay off debt, which is the exact opposite of what they were doing a few years earlier. It all gets a little
that broth is spicy. That's getting to me now.
TGI Fridays lost control of their assets, an announced merger was called off, they closed an additional 50 restaurants, and have filed for bankruptcy. Those are just some of the highlights. So in this video, I want to try to answer the big question of what happened to TGI Fridays. And I put together
I knew about that.
To be the 5 biggest reasons behind
I knew IHOP owned Applebee's, which is weird.
Their decline. Starting off with singles bars. Now,
singles
hold on.
bars.
I imagine a lot of people might be extremely confused at the moment, but it is...
Yeah, singles bars are no longer a thing.
Going to make more sense when I tell you that TGI Fridays started out as a singles bar, and arguably it was the first one. In 1965, Alan Stillman worked as a perfume salesman in the Upper East Side of Manhattan, where he would frequently go to a bar called Good Tavern. Like most of the other taverns at the time, that one had an almost exclusively male customer base, but Alan Stillman had kind of a genius vision for it. There happened to be a large population of females living in the area, specifically models and flight attendants. So he figured that if the bar had more of a friendly, vibrant atmosphere, it could be a cool place for
and I don't think people go to bars I don't think people go to bars anymore either. And they probably won't here in the future.
Writer painted it, added a bunch of plants and
Number 6 should be stealing customers' credit card information. They may get to that. You never know.
Signature red and white stripes for the employees'
It could be that too. You never know.
That he didn't really know what he was doing, but the plan worked perfectly. There were lines forming out the door, and imitators quickly started.
I know, we got 2 cameras up.
A whole trend that became known as singles bars. Or
looking at my reaction here, I'm gonna hold on, man. Let me show you my face just one moment. How burnt it is a little bit. Okay, not that burnt, but I feel it on my mouth just a little bit. Okay. Just want to let you know that, people.
TGI Fridays became such a sensation.
This soup, even though you say I'm joking, it is not a joke, people.
TGI Fridays. In 1970, after 5 years, he partnered with someone in Memphis to open the second location, and then 2 years later, a much larger one was opened in Dallas, Texas. However, by the middle of the 1970s, the culture was changing, and singles bars had become more of a dying fad, which obviously was a major issue for TGI Fridays, but I would say that they did a good job at reacting to it.
Do you have any other questions?
Into something that looked much more promising, casual dining. A decision that, well, ultimately backfired because I have it on my list as the next reason behind their decline. In the 1970s, TGI Fridays stopped trying to attract singles in trendy urban areas in favor of attracting families in more traditional suburban areas.
Yeah, that's, well, not really the TGI Fridays I remember, but it's getting closer.
And that is when they introduced their signature potato skins, which is probably the perfect symbol of their new identity. Also in that decade, TGI Fridays was sold a couple of times, ultimately being controlled by a large hospitality company called Carlson, where it remained for the next 40 years. Over that time, they grew it into a national brand with hundreds of locations throughout the country. The issue here is that casual dining was so promising that TGI Fridays was only one of many chains that were emerging during that time. Competitors like Applebee's and Chili's were becoming more popular, splitting the market share by attracting many of the same customers, and let's face it, with each new competitor added to the mix, it can become more difficult to stand out with your own identity. I mean, one of these competitors also had a day of the week in its name, so if you are deciding if you want to go to TGI Fridays or Ruby Tuesdays,
which both I think are not going to last longer,
go out on a limb and say that in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, when most of these casual dining restaurants were popping up, I think that TGI Fridays actually did a pretty good job in maintaining that own identity.
Hooray for TGI Fridays, that says something about back then.
Maybe the next reason on my list, flair. I realize
flair, okay? So not like Ric Flair, but flair, okay?
That anyone who has seen the movie Office Space probably has an idea of what I'm going to say here, but hear me out, it is a little more complex than you might be thinking. See, dating all the way back to the beginning, TGI Fridays has always had a lot of stylishness and originality, as the word is defined. Just think about how Alan Stillman was trying to attract women to the bar by making it more friendly and energetic, and well, I think that is the part that carried over the most when making the transition into casual dining. You can see
you want to know why another reason TGI Fridays is not doing good? It's because it's also a bar.
The uniforms, the colors, and of course all of that stuff.
That's why it's not doing good. See, people go to their bar thinking they're going to get a good experience. Well, they're not going to get a good experience
hanging on
at that bar. Like I don't go to the bar, or at least that bar.
1980s is mostly remembered by the way that the bartenders would spin and throw the bottles around while serving up the drinks. In other words, they were off the charts with flair, and a lot of it was influenced by what was going on at TGI Fridays. Part of the movie was filmed at that original location. Tom Cruise trained with a bartender from the company to learn how to do that stuff, and Alan Stillman even claims that the character was based on him. Still, to this day, TGI Fridays hosts a World Bartender Championship competition. They tried to make bartending an official Olympic sport, and they even hold a world record for the most people cocktail flaring. In short, I would argue that the main thing that made TGI Fridays stand out from all of the other casual dining restaurants was the flair. But then, I think flair stopped being cool. Honestly, well, not to offend anyone, it may have always been walking a fine line between lame and cool, but this kind of stuff was appealing to people. The movie Cocktail was among the top 10 highest grossing films of that year, despite receiving mostly negative reviews, and like it or not, the flair was a big part of the success of TGI Fridays. When Office Space came out in 1999, it famously made fun of the flair, kind of exposing the absurdity of it at that point, and expressing what a lot of the public was probably already thinking. Something that was once a positive had now become a negative. So I don't think Office Space was directly responsible, but a few years later, TGI Fridays spent an estimated $200 million to do a complete overhaul that essentially removed the flair from their image. I promise, I'm gonna stop saying the word flair, but they got rid of the stripes on the uniforms, the suspenders, made the walls less busy, altered the coloring a little bit, made menu changes. Everything became much more toned down. In 2013, they even simplified the logo by changing the shape and getting rid of the punctuation. Throughout all of this, they were mostly praised for the changes because they did get rid of a lot of the stuff that was maybe annoying people, but they also lost part of their identity and started blending in with all of the other casual dining restaurants, much more than they were before anyway. So maybe you can respect the tricky situation that they were in there. The next reason on my list is going to be a fast one, but still very significant. Fast casual.
Fast casual.
A relatively new restaurant category that falls between fast food and casual dining. I'm talking about restaurants like Chipotle or Panda Express that have exploded in popularity over the past few decades, pulling customers away from the more traditional casual dining concepts like TGI Fridays. I have talked about this on the channel multiple times before and even listed it as a reason behind the decline of other similar restaurants. So when they were already splitting the market between each other, and then all of these new concepts come in to split things even further, obviously that is going to be bad news. Moving on to the final reason on my list, I'm going to just call it external factors. Inflation, operational costs, interest rates. Whenever a company is in such an unstable condition like this, even a small external issue can amplify into having a large impact. Take a look at the recession. It was not good for most of the industry because people had less money to spend on going out to eat at restaurants, but TGI Fridays was so impacted by it that they failed to ever fully recover. In 2008, right as it was happening, they reached their peak of 600 US locations, and that has been steadily declining ever since. In 2014, it was sold after almost 4 decades in an $800 million deal. The pandemic is another obvious external factor that hurt the company, probably far more than it should have. Just looking back at that graph from before, we can see that sales took, well, an understandable dip in 2020 while the restaurants were closed or people were apprehensive about eating outside of their home, but those numbers have not even come close to returning to those previous levels. And to add yet another layer on top of it, the company was in the middle of this big merger that would have turned them into a public company. It could have changed the course for them in different ways, but it was essentially called off due to the pandemic. Again, I am not saying that these external factors are the core of the issue here, but they have complicated an already tricky situation. To summarize, the way I see the situation is that TGI Fridays is an old brand that simply was not meant to last on a large scale forever. In fact, we have seen that a lot of smart decisions had to be made for it to last as long as it has. Evolving and adapting is a huge part of long-time business success, and honestly, I would say that TGI Fridays has done a decent job at that over the years. Doesn't it seem like everything that made them successful eventually turned into their failures? Singles bars, casual dining, flair, which make up the majority of my list, all started out as great ideas that either grew old or started to be replaced. Clearly, TGI Fridays has not done everything perfect, but at the same time, I'll admit that I could see myself making a lot of those same decisions that have led them into this corner in which they are currently trapped. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about TGI Fridays? Was it better in the past? Has it always been good? Or maybe you think it has never been good? Statistically speaking, the one closest to it probably shut down over the past few years, if not within the past few months. So I'm curious to hear how you feel about that. And also, where do you think they went wrong? What I mean is,
I think they went wrong during the mid-2010s.
Finally, what do you see for the future? Are they going to
where they went wrong?
Continue along the same path, existing on a smaller and smaller scale each year? And any other thoughts you have about TGI Fridays or anything else in this video, leave them in the comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Finally got done with that soup. Finally. I want to show you the aftermath. Yeah.
These are truffles, one of the most prized and delicious ingredients you can use. Usually to use it, you need this tool. You see, it shaves the truffles quite thin. That's what you want. Now, there are several different uses for truffles, but on today's video, we're doing something extremely special, something that has never been done before. As just like truffles, inside of this box, there's another special ingredient, an authentic Japanese Wagyu A5 steak. Literally the best piece of meat you can buy. I mean, even in the package, you can see how well marbled this is. And yes, it comes with a certificate of authenticity. Now, Japanese people take this beef quite seriously. And on today's video, I'm combining Japan and Italy together. The first thing to do is to shave a generous amount of the truffles right on top of the steak. Let's just say the more the better. But we cannot forget about the bottom. For that, I got a baking sheet with some parchment paper and started creating a bed of truffles so that the steak can lay on top. But the good part is that it's shaved so thin. I only used 2 truffles for this steak. And as you can see, I was able to get complete coverage. Because now that this one is ready, inside of the dry ager it goes for a whole month. But I did not stop there, because if this works, I want to know the best possible way to use it. So I went ahead and shaved more truffles. But this one I set it down on a cooling rack, because I'll be dehydrating the whole thing. That takes about 24 hours. As once it came out, check it out. Nicely dry, and if I grab one, even though it still looks the same, it's like a chip. Now to pulverize the whole thing. For that, I threw it into a coffee grinder, blended on high, as in the end, I'm left with this, truffle dust. This is a lot cheaper than the real truffle. So I went ahead and got another Japanese Wagyu A5. I first laid down a nice bed of truffle dust on the bottom, then I placed my steak right on top. As the next step is to get full coverage. Again, it is key to make sure that the whole thing is covered. And since this one is pulverized, it is much easier to do. Not to mention, quite cheaper. Because once that was done, inside of the dry ager it goes for a whole month. As the time was up, I took it out and take a look. This is our very first experimental steak. It looks like real truffles have
now back to
So not only did they shrink, we also lost a little bit of coverage. But I can promise you one thing, friends. The smell that is coming out of this thing is phenomenal. It
camera one, go back to camera one.
And something I've never experienced before. I was careful to make sure that I did not ruin the steak, as this is one of the most expensive videos I've ever made. And once I was done, check it out. This is the world's first Japanese
that soup
truffle dry aged steak.
Is like
10 times better than it looks.
I don't know.
Delightful. But we're not done yet. Because
it's so interesting how that hot and spicy soup, even though it was a little bit spicy, it burnt my lips.
Started removing it little by little. This makes me feel like an archaeologist.
Please, it got the snot out my nose.
True treasure. And the more I removed the truffle dust, the better things started looking.
I guess that's
Most
good.
importantly, it looks like the truffle penetrated deeply in there. It completely oxidized.
At least it wasn't too spicy.
It's going to taste phenomenal. And in order to have a true comparison, I went ahead and grabbed a fresh steak. For the seasoning,
let's see what else I can find.
A generous amount of salt, followed by freshly ground
Facebook world for you.
Because if not, I will be in a very deep financial hole. And just in case these do not work very well, I went ahead and made an awesome side dish.
Let's see
This
here.
one is going to be real delicious. And keeping the
what news I got for you?
Pasta that I make for my family all the time. However,
awesome championship wrestling
the first thing
hold on, wait a minute.
This is
interesting.
Cut them in small
Awesome
cubes.
championship wrestling, or ACW.
Nice and slow. That way you
This
can
is interesting.
In the meantime,
Wrestling is coming back to the MJN Center, which is the Major J. Nacho Hot Convention Center.
Throw the fat away. This is going to be
the Awesome Championship Wrestling ACW is launching its inaugural event here in Poughkeepsie on January 4, 2025. Founded by wrestling veteran Vic Davis and Hal Collins, along with other partners. ACW promises to bring unparalleled excitement and action. You can expect to see top-tier talent such as reigning TNA World Champion Nick Namath, FKA Dolph Ziggler, who will take on NBA World Champions Thomas Latimer. Oh, still.
The sauce goes right on top of the pasta. Mix that up real good until everything is fully
and then you also got
then for a crunchy element, I threw in some panko
in an epic battle of the current world heavyweight
Placed
championships.
them right on top of the pasta,
Champions.
followed
Oh,
by a
sorry
generous
if I
amount
was
of guanciale
for a
to keep it
championship.
healthy, a tiny bit of chives. Now that is
ECW
famous
icon
dish.
Tommy
Every
Dreamer
person
will
wants
be
it,
there.
friends. It's going to be
High Flying
delicious.
Sensation
It will be perfect to
CMLL
eat
International
with
star Flip
Talking
Gordon
about
will
that,
be
the only
there.
thing left to do is
Nice.
to cook these beautiful steaks.
Powerhouse
First, we'll
Tag
nice,
Teams
wonderful
Now
sauce.
and
First, I'll be
Sent to
cooking them
Slaughter,
medium heat to
Rising
reach an
Star,
internal temperature of
Kelly
135.
Maiden.
And for that, I'll be using my wireless thermometer. As now I say, it is
Wrestling
enough talking,
legend
and it is time
Crowbar,
to
NXT
Let's do it.
alumnus Anthony Green, and more. Just want to let you know that. Also, let's see what Rock 105's doing.
All right, everybody, and here we got our beautiful steak with an incredible side dish. What do you guys think, gentlemen?
I think for the first time you overcooked the steak, Guga.
I know it looks like that. I know it looks like that.
Yeah, she's looking a little gray over there.
I know, it's okay. You can try to roast me, but this is what happens when you dry age Japanese Wagyu A5. It loses its pinkness. Both of these steaks were cooked to the exact same temperature as this one here.
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on Japanese A5.
Yes, Japanese Wagyu A5 dry age with a very special ingredient. Enough talking. We got a lot to eat. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm always ready.
Let's go.
Oh my god. Smells like charcoal and happiness to me.
All right, enough talking. Let's give it a try. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Oh, wow.
So good.
Let him cook. It's always amazing. Let him cook now. It's never going to be bad. Let him cook. I know you want to say something, David. Look at this.
Let 'em cook.
Let him cook. Wow.
Those juices, incredible. The way it coats your mouth, it's an experience.
What do you think, Leo?
If you think this is gonna taste like steak, you're wrong. It has a completely different mouthfeel than any other steak before because it doesn't have a lot of thick fibers. It's so much fat. It feels softer, it feels pillowy. And then as
I'm
soon as
gonna
your
look up
just
Cedar
tongue starts
Point.
touching that fat, it oozes out with that nice, delicious fat that comes out of it. It's incredible.
It is rich,
Okay.
it is delicious, and when you get a nice, beautiful crust
Oh,
on
that
everybody,
explains
it's
a lot.
life-changing. You should try this at least once in your life. Shout out to my brother Emilio from Grand Western Steaks, man. Because without you, Emilio, I wouldn't be able to afford it. He gives me the same discount he gives a lot of people, and your discount will be on the description down below, everybody.
Yeah,
Okay?
thank
to use
you.
that discount.
Yeah, I know, it's good. All right, let's go with what you guys call it overcooked, which is not, by the way.
That's medium rare?
That's medium rare, same temperature.
I'll take your word for it.
It looks like a well-done steak, Guga.
It does, it does. It's because when it's dry aged, so that happens, it's normal.
You know it's A5 when you can't tell where the fat ends and the meat begins. I don't even know where to cut.
Give me your honest opinion. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Oh, you can feel it. Oh, you can feel it immediately.
Wow, that's interesting.
It has a completely different crust too. Whatever that special ingredient is, really like baked into or charred into the crust, and it has a very profound flavor.
What do you think,
But
David?
they got rid of this
It's so
rye.
distinct. It's such a distinct flavor. Truffle is often like really overpowering. But with
Especially the
this-
oils.
Yeah, exactly. But with this, it goes together so well. It just kind of like really tones down the rich beefiness of the
Yeah.
steak and gives you that like herbally, groundy, earthy truffleness.
It's like an extra hint of real truffle flavor versus you putting that nasty truffle oil. But when you put the real thing, I mean, if you love truffle, this is gonna be the steak of heavens for you, I promise.
I can agree to that.
Very good. So we have a lot of other people to try here in the office, but this right here is my newest creation, baked cacio pepe, but it's not really baked. So I want to know your honest opinion. All right, let's go. Let's dig in. You ready, Leo?
I'm a little bit nervous, Guga. Normally we have a side dish that cuts the fat.
We got a side dish here that is gonna make the fat fatter. Enough talking. Let's try it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh wow.
Oh my God. I wasn't sure if it was gonna work, everybody. That works. That works very, very well.
That works incredibly well.
Oh, yeah.
I should have brought my lactate today because this is going to be a problem.
Oh my God, that's so good. What do you think, Leo?
I I love the combination of the creamy cacio pepe sauce with that little crispy, crumbly tops that you put on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that little breadcrumbs is just on a whole nother level.
The contrast of textures is so beautiful, and then you have that meaty yet fatty guanciale that also oozes out juice similar to the Wagyu, but has a completely different flavor to it. So even though my mouth is still coated in fat, it's a different fat and it's a different experience. It's delicious.
It's that porky fat that you get from like bacon and stuff. Not the same flavor as bacon, but still that really good tasting pork fat. And it goes really well with the pasta, the cream, and the breadcrumbs.
That is amazing. Highly recommend. Give it a try. You won't regret it. Now let's try the next one. So this is also truffle, but completely different. I want to know your opinion. If it's going to be better or worse. As the previous one, I actually used fresh truffle. This is not fresh. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
It's very different.
Yeah.
Ooh, she's strong.
I feel like there's a way stronger truffle flavor. But it's also weird because the steak is now oozing out truffle juice from it, which it wasn't previously. That is a lot of truffle.
It's not bad. I'm not going to say it's bad at all, but it's not as good as the previous one, at least for me.
It's definitely not as overpowering as I thought it would have been.
Uh-huh.
But it definitely, like Leo said, seeps into the fat, and then every time you bite, you just get like a mouthful of truffle and beef fat. Okay. I think it's towing the line of too much.
There you go, everybody. Fresh will be better. It is something that if you are a truffle lover, you should try at least once in your life, everybody, because you will be life-changing. Seriously.
Oh, yeah, you gotta do it.
Shout out to my mushroom dealer. He hooks me up all the time. He did the same thing with these truffles. Go check them out. It will be on the description down below. And obviously, you guys already know my meat dealer. If you want the best steaks in the planet, check them out. They'll both be there for you. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
I didn't know you had a mushroom dealer.
Yeah, I got dealers for everything, baby. Watch out.
Man, I wish I had 750 donuts like this sign says. It says $750, not donuts. What if each donut cost $1? I hate that you're kind of right. Switch to Progressive and you can save hundreds.
I'm looking at his steak dealer.
If you're like me and you like getting paid to give your opinion, then go to beforthright.com. Sign up and Forthright will send you a survey.
Okay. Well, that's it, my peeps. I'm Bailey Robert Chandler signing off for now.